is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome to This Week at X. Today we're going to start with an image that was doing its rounds. I've seen a few people tweet this concerning Anita Sarkeesian, who on her Instagram had posted what looked like a wedding picture, starting off by saying, "I did not get married, but I did have a wedding-themed birthday in Stockholm this summer. It was goofy and silly and fun. We had a bachelor party, rehearsal, dinner, ceremony and reception all in one. It was posted 26 weeks ago and people are now posting about it." The quartering. She spent years creating fake problems that could only be solved by corporations giving her money. Now she's broke and marrying herself. I wish I didn't, but I feel bad for Anita Sarkeesian. For the sake of it, I do not feel bad for Anita in the slightest. Her life choices, her body, whatever you want, I don't care really. She is a grifting hack and I have, well, put the nail in the coffin on never really making a definitive video on her in the future. This just amused me because people are actually posting it more recently as if it's some kind of cheap gotcha point. I do get the amusement though related to her being a grifter, but at the same time the image is quite dated and it should be acknowledged as such, regardless of, well, what the intent is. There were many pictures in this Instagram post of hers and I did go look at it. It was quite dorky, yeah, innocent in that respect. She's busy doing TV stuff for those who are curious, on a network that I don't think anyone's ever heard of. Dexa 2. Moving on, by the way. US House panel unanimously vote to approve the bill that could ban TikTok from all devices. This is a contentious subject. I don't like the idea of any government controlling what social media platforms you have access to, but I do simultaneously understand what they claim to be the motivations for it, especially considering government ties when certain platforms have them to other countries that aren't as free as America likes to claim itself to be. No, there's not an intended dig there. I'm trying to leave it as a grayer area because I'm an Englishman and we don't have what you call freedom. We are, after all, subjects to the crown. But I will stand behind my lack of enthusiasm at the idea of a government banning or prohibiting TikTok on devices, and I should point out that doesn't mean it won't be available in your country. It just means more and more people are going to start using VPNs or just using alternative means to get TikTok on their phones. It is, after all, one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. And there's money to be made in it, surely you'd want to tax it. Next, Hannah Clark. When will he realise what Keemstar accused him of a few years ago, his best friend Keffals just did with this situation? Was disgusted when Keemstar was accusing him, where's that disgusted for Keffals actually doing it? So this is in relation to the James Summerton situation, and it's a tricky one. I don't want to be drawn in on that too much. I certainly don't want to be seen assigning blame, and I'm not going to assign blame. Tipster had tweeted, regardless of how anyone feels about James Summerton and his acts of plagiarism, no one wants to see them bring harm to themselves. I genuinely hope they are safe, and I hope this is a learning experience for everyone. Harassment is not criticism or accountability. The last statement or sentence in that is important, because what is harassment and then what is criticism? It, on the online space and social media especially, is quite nebulous in nature, and accountability is too for that matter. It's why H-Bomber Guy has been trending all week. Yes, he made the plagiarism video that actually caused quite a stir within commentary spheres because he dunked on them all, fobbed them off, whilst simultaneously not citing any of his own sources, when calling out others for citing their sources in pastebin links, and then dumping on people without actually knowing who they were, which was quite amusing. Still not a bad video though, really, is it? While we've got Tipster here though, let's continue. These DMs are less than a year old. This is now Boblex. Everything Tipster says is fake as F. He defended Vosh Lolly just because Keffals did, but refused to defend me when Keffals was calling me racist. Can't believe I wasted 5 years being friends with this clown. The images. 1. In this space, people are too quick to abandon friends at the first sign of trouble. That's not how friendship works. When your friends are in a tough spot, make a mistake or hit hard times, don't leave their side to save yourself, stand by them, because that's when they need you most for guidance. And he's right. As a statement, that is quite correct. Absolutely. But then, Boblax includes a DM here, and it ends with, you can no longer send direct messages to this person. That's brave. Things got difficult for Boblax when Keffals went down that path. And at that point, Keffals was hot. I don't mean appearance, because that's never the case, even those clickbaity cleavage thumbnails. No, I mean in the sense of their views, their attention, everyone was looking at them, which is something they desperately are trying to get again, but the Keffals cycle is very similar to that of the Amberlynn Reid cycle. They can't seem to get out of it, and they're never going to be able to dig themselves fully or remove themselves from it. Before we move on, let's go to one more tweet from Boblax. Why is Tipster role-playing polyamorous sex on Twitter? Blind pasta, it got worse. Gotta learn the ways of the cuck from Koof. Tipster including some pictures And yes, polyamorous. I thought Tipster was married, or is Tipster still trying to shag Keffels? I honestly can't keep up with this. I don't know if it's an age thing or if a lack of effort on my part. Let's move on from this entirely, just because it tickled me to no end, to a somewhat random block of the week, but not at me. Although I thought by now I would have been blocked by Ethel Thurston. Turns out I am not worthy of Ethel Thurston's block yet. No, instead, Opera GX on Twitter had tweeted, releasing a $69.99 game with a microtransaction is bad actually. Retweeting it with an image. EA had blocked them. EA really showing their colours. And how sensitive they are. It's quite amusing on the face of it because EA are horrendous for microtransactions. Actually, many games with an online aspect are. I generally don't get involved in microtransactions. DLCs for games I'll buy, but I don't do microtransactions. I remember being unemployed and barely being able to get by, and I'd play a SimCity game on Facebook, and it relied on microtransactions to grow your city. It was a pain in the ass because I didn't have the money to do it. And then when I did, I realised I could have spent that £5 on food. So I learnt my lesson very quickly. And while we've got this subject of hardship, Chad Gilmartin, MSDNC panel, mocks the fact immigration is a top issue for voters across the country. Jen Psaki, I live in Virginia, immigration was the #1 issue. You're thinking like, what? Joanne Reed laughs. Rachel Maddow, well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia. The clip itself is only 14 seconds long, and it is a case of they just laugh at the entire idea of immigration being such an important issue, forgetting here that millions per year are crossing into America every year. Right now, that's horrendous. Your infrastructure cannot withstand it, and while you live in your gated communities and your ivory towers and you don't understand that this actually hurts the average American, it's quite embarrassing that you don't get this. Although it does fall handily in line with a tweet from Mark Hamill, who wants to abolish the Electoral College, based on the fact that a few cities in America would outvote the rest of the country, forgetting the entire point of the Electoral College in the first place, and that you're not a democracy as a country, you're a democratic republic, which is not the same, and the Electoral College then has to exist. So instead of appealing to the cities who do not fully yet understand the consequences that the rest of America is having to put up with, why don't you take your thumb out of your asshole for a second and stop sucking on it? And actually bother to listen to how this impacts, as an issue, your country. It affected my country. It's why a lot of people voted for Brexit. It's why a lot of people voted for Conservatives who said they were going to do something to help with it. Turns out governments don't actually do what they say unless they're not a politician. I know. Imagine my shock. I think now would be a good time to start playing some videos for your amusement. For example, depending on which generation you're from, certain emojis now might be considered
Yo, I guess I'm gonna need to be the one to explain to all of the 40-year-old people and above, so 40 plus. Yo, you guys keep sending out these thumbs up emojis and they look more like this to the Gen Z and millennials. Yo, we depict the thumbs up as a it's rude.
That is some proper high intellectual stuff right there. We also have this individual who I've covered before on Rumble, mostly. They are an interesting individual who has trivialized every aspect of masculinity and femininity to create what they are now. And in the video, they talk about how it is still wrong to not wear a mask in public because of how it harms those who are minority and or disabled who are or can be considered a minority.
My body, my choice means personal choices. When you choose to go out in public and go indoors without a KN95 or an N95 mask, you are making the choice for other people's bodies. As an immunocompromised person with asthma who's disabled and trans, I not only am a more high risk to get sick, but then when I do get sick, I have less of a chance of even getting treated. And that was shown today. I went to a new doctor's office to try to be established as a patient. They said that maybe if I want my doctor to wear a mask around me, then maybe I shouldn't actually be a patient with them.
The level of mental gymnastics applied go far beyond your level of intellect. And just because it tickles me to no end and featured in a video last Monday with Hassan Piker, streamer Clicks compares streaming to a hard-working job. Hassan has ruined a generation. That was tweeted by Drama Alert.
This is the real thing that I'm about to say. Hard work is hard work. If you are hard work, if you are working your ass off streaming, compared to a person working a 9 to 5, not giving a single fuck and just getting it done, okay, streaming is harder. But if you are working your ass off in a 9 to 5 job, and you have a streamer who's just streaming, not talking to chat and boring, that 9 to 5 is harder than being a streamer. It's just like, hard work is hard work at the end of the day. It doesn't mean, like, construction. If you are working your ass off, streaming, is hard work. If you are actually working hard. You get what I'm saying?
This was then retweeted by Keemstar, who said, sorry, but Clicks has never had a real job in his life. He's been a streamer since age 12. Homie, you're completely disqualified from this conversation. And my friend Trups retweeted that by basically repeating something we had spoken about in a political stream last Friday, by saying, please get these streamers on a show where they are forced to work a real job and they can't stream. Please, Mr. Beast, I need someone to do it. And I'm actually fully in favor of this. I'm fully in favor of it because, honestly, you couldn't be more out of touch with reality. You really couldn't be. Your opinion, of course, should not be disqualified, Clicks, but your opinion carries less weight in the context of actually living. Your life is online. The real world is not the same. As someone that does both, they are not the same. And many of us do both. It helps keep us grounded in what is often charitably considered to be reality.